Hi guys, how are you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Ninecorn Neil here, and I'm probably the guy that wish I'd never called my channel that, but I'm in way too deep now to ever go back. Today we are checking out three amp modelers here, well, three multi-effects processors for guitar, and this is a video that I've been asked to do for quite a while now. I finally got around to it. I've chosen these three out of all the modelers that I've had on the channel, mainly because they've all got touch screens and they're all at least similar priced, you know, somewhere around the same ballpark. Yeah, let's check them out. Okay guys, so first of all I just want to talk a bit about these three models. There's going to be quite a bit of talking in today's demo, but please do not switch off. This is really important because I need to get across exactly what I'm doing here, how I'm doing it, and why I'm doing it the way I am. So I'm a metal guitar player, so first of all, the only real thing that I'm interested in all these multi-effects processors are really the high gain amp models. So I'm interested in the amp models, and I'm interested in the built-in cab sims, so that when you get it out of the box, it sounds great right from the off. Forget IRs, you know, we can improve all the tones here by loading in tons of IRs, you know, our own favorite IRs, and we can also re-EQ them. We can throw stuff in the effects loops, and we can do all that stuff to make these sound better. But I wanted to keep this demo as stock as possible, so then the comparison is as raw and as honest as it possibly can be. Now, first of all, I just want to say as a quick disclaimer here, I know you guys are probably aware that I am a Sonicake affiliate. That means if you go down there below in the description, there's a Sonicake affiliate link. Go through that link, use code Neil when you purchase anything, and you get 10% off. That's the selling part of the video. However, I don't want you guys to think that this demo is biased at all, and when you get to the end of the video and you hear what I have to say about all three processors, you will realize that I am being as honest as I possibly can here. Now let me just explain something to you. Although I'm a Sonicake affiliate, I also have a Thomann affiliate link down there below as well, where you can buy the other two products. So if you go down there below and click on the Thomann affiliate link, type in whatever you want, buy it, and you know, that contributes towards the channel as well. So there's not really any bias going on here at all. Also guys, another really important thing is that although I am directly affiliated with Sonicake, on the Hotone website I do have my own artist page on there. So I guess some would say that I'm biased towards Hotone, and in the same way you could say I'm biased towards Mooer, because Mooer, out of all these three brands, are the first brand out of all these three that I worked with on the channel, and they are the brand that I've worked with the longest on the channel, and I absolutely love their stuff. You know, and in fact I love all the stuff that all the brands do. I think they're doing some great affordable stuff that does compete with much higher end, higher priced products. So yeah, I'm trying to be as honest as I can in this video, and I will be as honest as I can. Things like reverb, loopers, all those things, I don't care about that much. As far as noise gates go, I don't think I've come across an amp modeler or an amp processor yet that's got a noise gate in that I've loved. Some are okay, some are not that great. So, you know, I can't judge this on anything else. The tones that I'm using within this demo, well, first I should probably tell you exactly what I've got here. So I've got a Sonicake Matribox 2 Pro, I've got a Mooer GE1000, and I have a Hotone Ampero II. What I'm going to do in today's demo with all three of these is I'm going to dial in, well, I'm not going to dial in a tone, I'm going to choose a cab, which will be a Rectifier 412 cab, and then I'm going to choose a Rectifier amp, and I'm going to go straight in via guitar, and then these models are going to go straight into my iPhone there via USB-C. Okay, now the reason I'm doing this the way I am is because I know that as far as high gain amps go, a lot of you guys are familiar with rectifiers. The question is, what you need to ask yourself before the demo gets going is, are you bothered how accurate these are compared to a real rectifier, or do you just want the best and nicest tone that you can and don't really care how accurate they are at all? Because for me, I think it's the second one. I think if something sounds great, it sounds great, and I'm not too bothered how near it is, as long as it's, you know, as long as it's flavored. You know, it has to have the rectifier flavor if you're going to put a rectifier label on there. So I'm going to use a rectifier amp model from each unit, and I'm also going to use a Rectifier 412 as well. I know they are in there, but what I will say is, Is it a fair comparison because the GS1000 only has one rectifier amp to choose from, and it also only has one rectifier cab stock. The Hotone Ampero II has 4 rectifier cabs to choose from, and also has a modern rectifier, a clean rectifier obviously, which they all have, and also like a vintage rectifier. And the Sonicake Matribox 2 Pro has one rectifier cab, I believe, on this unit. Whether it needs an update, I don't know. And it also has a modern rectifier in there and a vintage as well. So you could say that there are more options for me when I go inside the Hotone Ampero 2 and the Matribox 2 as compared to GS1000. It only has one rectifier amp in there and one cab to go with it. So is it fair, isn't it? But do you care? Maybe you want extra options and extra amps, you know, maybe that's a selling point for you. Like for me personally, it would be. So yeah, we're going to get on with it now. You're going to hear all 3 of these going direct, and what I will say is that all the amp settings are exactly the same. When you load up a new amp within all of these, it's 50% everything. Gain 50%, presence 50%, treble 50%, mid 50%, and bass as well. So yeah, this is about as raw and as honest as it can get. So let's get on with it. Let's listen to all 3 of these units now, all 3 rectifier cabs and amps from each, and I'll come back on and I'll let you know what I think and what I found while I was testing them and messing around with some power chords. Okay guys, so what did you think there? I'm going to give you my honest opinion now on how I feel and what I think on all the units, not just on the rectifier tones, but in general. So one thing I will say is that I was quite shocked how good the Sonicake Matribox 2 stood up and how well it sounded. It sounded great. It had tons of low end and was very enjoyable to play through. It felt great. And yeah, I was really impressed with it, and I kind of forgot how good that was. The Ampero 2 here, the Hotone Ampero 2, sounded massive. And like I say, there's 4 cab options. Just for me, the amount of amp options and cab options within the Ampero 2 is massive, and if I was looking at buying one of these, I'd be looking at buying it and I'd be wanting lots of options, and I'd be wanting those options to be really good quality. So it kind of it ticks a lot of boxes for me. The GS1000 here, like I said at the beginning, the amp model in there is based, in my opinion, on a vintage rectifier rather than a modern one. So it's not as spongy, it's not as smooth, it's not quite as nice. You know, if you put a boost in front, you could probably dial it in to sound more modern. The others didn't need a boost in front. Some would argue that the GS1000, because of this, is more realistic, maybe more like a rectifier, you know, the iconic rectifier tone. There's tons of mids there, and it's very gravelly and grainy and quite harsh, which rectifier cabs and rectifier heads can be, especially if everything's 50%. So it's a tough one, and I don't know what to think. Which one do I prefer? Well, out of all those rectifier tones, I think for me, I prefer the Hotone Ampero 2. I think that felt the nicest to play through, and I think in a mix, and you know, with a bit of tweaking, that would overall sound and feel the best. I think second, the Matribox 2 Pro would come in there, because I think that that was very close to the Ampero 2 tone wise. Actually, it was nice and spongy. It felt really nice and was probably the easiest to play out of them all. For me, the GS1000 rectifier tone was too harsh. Like I said, you could argue it was more realistic, but I guess if I wanted a super realistic rectifier tone, I would just go out there and buy a real rectifier. The other thing that I need to talk about in this video, and the thing that is super important, is that if you are like me and you're into amp modeling and you're buying processors to amp model, a reverb's a reverb to me. Once I find one that I like, that's it. Delay is a delay. And for the amount of time that I use those, you know, any delay would probably do me, and I'd be happy on any reverb as well. Metal players, you know, we don't use tons of effects really. What I will say is the Ampero 2 can capture your amp tone, okay? And it does it extremely well. I have some preset packs of my EVHs. I've done some EVHs. I've done the PRS MT100 recently. It sounds absolutely awesome. They're pretty close. The GS1000 here is hit and miss with the captures, I would say, but it's the newest out of them all, so maybe that needs working on a bit. It captured the PRS MT100 and was miles off. And tweaking, once you've captured it, is not that easy like it is with the Ampero 2. It's pretty easy to tweak it and get it even more alike, but with the GS1000 it's not as easy, and it didn't capture the MT100 that well. My EVHs, it captured a bit better and a bit easier, but again, it wasn't super accurate. The Matribox 2 Pro, as far as I'm aware, doesn't have that feature yet, but it does have all the inputs and everything, and I'm assuming maybe that feature, if it isn't out yet, it could be out and I just don't know about it, but maybe that will be added via software and updates and stuff eventually. But yeah, that might be something to consider if you're looking at buying one of these. So yeah, which is my favorite overall in today's demo? I think the Ampero 2, but the Matribox 2 Pro is super, super close. And then last, and I'm pretty gutted to say that the GE1000 wasn't quite there. What I will say is though, down here I have a GE300 by Mooer, and that would have competed better in my opinion for amp models than the GE1000. It would have competed with the other two, because I think the amp models in there for some reason sound better than they do in the GE1000. So that's it guys, as I always say, use your ears not mine. Let me know in the comments below which is your favourite. Don't forget my affiliate links, and I'll see you all very soon.